So you're interested in learning about becoming a sponsor of the Scaling Up H2O podcast. I've asked several of our sponsors some questions. Let's hear what they've had to say.
We decided to advertise on Scaling Up H2O because I feel that it lets us reach a broader audience. The Scaling Up H2O podcast is not just aimed at only AWT members or only certain people. I believe it's anybody in the business community or in the industrial water treatment community that's interested in learning more about water treatment, but also about their jobs, about business in general. So I felt that we would reach a broader audience. And I also felt that it was a different format for us versus just a print ad or a web page or an email. I felt like the podcast reached a more diverse audience. I believe that there's 12,000 subscribers in 72 countries. So it isn't just an AWT advertisement or an industrial water advertisement. It's people from all over the country, all different areas, all over the world. I was very hesitant to do the podcast because I didn't know how much material I was going to have to come up with. I didn't know how easy a process it would be. The onboarding process for us getting our Scaling Up H2O ad was so easy. I gave Trace some ideas. We worked together. He did a couple of takes and sent those to me. I was very honest with him and changed a couple things. There wasn't many things that I wanted tweaked a little bit. And then I think he sent me back the third or fourth edit and it was perfect. And we just went from there. So it was a lot easier and not as intimidating as I had thought. And it was not very time consuming. And we came up with a really quality product. And I was very happy with the way that my advertising spot sounded and the placement of the ad. I think we got a lot out of our ad on Trace's podcast, The Scaling Up H2O. Mostly what I was going for was to get in front of a more diverse audience. I was also going for getting in front of an audience that doesn't read the analyst, that doesn't look for these traditional advertisements. And what I was really going for is to put our name out there in front of our current group of AWT membership, but also to put our name out there in front of people that it would have never heard of us before. So what I wanted to get out of my ad on Scaling Up Nation was the name recognition. And I do believe we've gotten a lot of phone calls and emails and comments from people that, oh yeah, I heard your ad. And that's kind of what we were going for to make Scranton Associates, if somebody's thinking about, contract blending, the name the name you trust. I heard them on Scaling Up Nation. And another thing that's really nice is that, sure, your ad runs in the time slots that you pick, but at the same time, those episodes live on forever. So my ad, should somebody want to go back in time and listen to a certain episode, my ad will always be attached to that episode. So it's almost like the advertising never really goes away. You get in front of not only a more diverse amount of people listening, but you also get more than the business owner, more than the principal. You don't just get, the person that subscribes to a magazine seeing your ad because they're the owner. You get anybody that listens to the podcast, no matter if they're the owner, if they're the purchasing director, if there's somebody working out in the field, somebody thinking about getting into the industry, you get so many more possibilities for people to listen and hear, your advertisement, because the content that the podcast is addressing is applicable to such a wide variety of people, even people that are not in the industrial water market at all, that just want to learn more about business. There's so many worthwhile clips in the Scaling Up H2O library that talk about just business and running your company. I feel good that my company, Scranton Associates, is supporting the Scaling Up H2O podcast because I think it's very unique and very worthwhile. And I think it brings a lot of good information and knowledge to our industry. Knowledge is power. And I think it has a very good content, very good mixed content about a variety of topics that'll be of interest to many people. I feel proud that, Scaling Up H2O can partner with me. And I feel proud equally to partner with them because I think that it gets my message out. And I'm happy to support something that's bringing knowledge to so many. I think that our advertising with Scaling Up H2O is more than just the snippet that runs before the show begins. I know that it links to our homepage. I know that it's on the Scaling Up H2O website. I know that it's on all of the social media. My marketing person saw an increase in our Google ad after the Scaling Up H2O advertising ran. It's very worthwhile because you get more than the ad. And I can't stress enough that the ad really never dies because it's always attached to the Scaling Up H2O episodes in the library. So anyone, anytime can go back and listen to those, and the ad is still there. After we ran the ads on Scaling Up H2O, it was nice to hear how many of our customers and colleagues and suppliers got in touch with us and said, "Oh, I heard your ad," and it was nice because all the comments that they had were all very positive, and kind of this is a new way, I think, to advertise. And I said it reaches a broader audience than you can imagine, and it's nice to know that people are listening by the comments that they gave us after we ran our ad.
The reason we decided to advertise with Scaling Up H2O really because of our dedication to this industry. We see Scaling Up as a natural extension to now our 20th year in this industry in terms of giving back and trying to spread the message that we have as McGowan Insurance Group. More than anything, though, we saw the value in the team behind Scaling Up and what they had to offer in terms of their guidance and consultation about the reach to the membership of AWT and even broader than that. And really knowing the caliber of listener that Scaling Up has attracted over time. The experience really was quite easy when it came right down to it. I'm a little nervous probably going in on the onboarding call and different things like that. But again, the Scaling Up team made that go away very quickly. And so there was really an ease of use that we found almost immediately. And not being well versed in some of these advertising avenues, again, the consultation and the help and assistance from the team made it all very possible. The results have been very positive. We've received very nice comments from numerous clients that we now serve, and then those that we have relationships with that we don't have an active client relationship with. So that's been nice that a large majority of people have really gone out of their way to comment about our relationship with Scaling Up, and we're proud of that. We're also happy to say that in a couple of cases, we've been able to land some significant deals, to be specific, directly from Scaling Up experience. So we, as McGowan, believe very strongly in supporting these kinds of resources that really go above and beyond in trying to bring together a community and truly a family of water treatment professionals across this country, not even broader. And just being a small part of that has been extremely important to us. But whether it be through the COVID crisis or even before and after that, Scaling Up serves really as a conduit in many ways for this family and this community to stay connected, stay up to date on new situations, developments, experiences, opportunities, and share ideas, much like what they do when they happen to be in person. We saw a real advantage here in advertising through Scaling Up, obviously it being a social platform, really, as opposed to the traditional print advertising that we've undertaken previously. We continue to do that, but we do see the value in what Scaling Up is bringing too. It reaches a broader audience, there's no doubt about it. Many times the print advertising that we participate in go to one or two people in an organization, but truly the breadth and depth of what Scaling Up is able to do, we saw real value in how we're spending our sponsorship dollars, as well as technology boost, the SEC boost. The SEO boost is important to us, and some of the other social media platforms and pushing that go on behind the scenes that the team does without us really even knowing it. is very meaningful. So knowing that we've got experts that we're dealing with in the advertising arena with scaling up made the difference. Overall, the response from our clients has been very positive. We've received thanks, appreciation, and it's comforting to know that we're participating along with them really in this industry. That's been a mantra and an important objective and goal of ours for the past 20 years. And knowing that we're continuing to support our clients, the industry in which they serve, and the broader community is important. And being able to do that through scaling up is gratifying to us. I see us definitely continuing in the future with scaling up. The water treatment community, in our opinion, has really developed some magnificent relationships and friendships, quite frankly. And it really seems to be a family of certainly competitors, but also quality business people that are focused on certain goals and wanting to share information in that kind of education and technical background that they all possess. Having a conduit like scaling up to really offer up an opportunity for that sharing and for the continued community development of water treaters and those that serve that industry, I think it's important. And our hats off to the scaling up team for coming up with this idea and then driving it like they have. We very much appreciate being a part of it.
I chose to advertise on scaling up H2O because I knew that it reached lots of people's ears, and I would be able to get my brand out into the water treatment community. The onboarding and the process of getting involved with Scaling Up H2O podcast was really honestly simple. Trace does a fantastic job of walking you through, and it's very professional. He gives you options of what you want your message to be, and he takes ideas that you have about your company or what you're trying to promote, and he formulates that into a really good message and advertisement. He takes my feedback and kind of puts his own twist on it, and the end product that we ended up with was a really good advertisement that I was happy with for my company. I know that my message to the water treatment community and my business is going to get exposure by being on the Scaling Up podcast. And that's exactly what I have to do to get my name out there of a new dip slide provider in the industry. So in partnership with Scaling Up, I felt was a very good, smart business decision. Being a sponsor on the program helps better the community by helping Trace's podcast out and getting, advice and tips or tricks or knowledge out to the industry that helps everybody do a better job and be more of a trusted resource to their customers. What I like about all those options is that you have so many different avenues for somebody to take advantage of your company and learn about who you are and what you do and what the offerings you can bring to their business. It's been a very professional and good experience. Trace Blackmore and his team are great people. They're sincere people. They care about the water industry and they care about water treatment. They're trusted. I trust him, and I think a lot of his listeners and the following that he has wouldn't be there if he wasn't knowledgeable, in his craft.
We really decided to advertise based on the momentum that scaling H2O has had in our industry and in the marketplace over the last couple of years. It's really been impressive how many people, not only in the U.S., but globally, that the podcast is reaching and the information is reaching. So, our main motivation is to tap into this expanding opportunity, really, and reach people that we wouldn't necessarily otherwise reach through other means. At the last AWT convention in person, we talked, and you were looking at adding in the opportunity to advertise, but had some reservations about that and how it might change, the podcast and the purpose of the podcast. And, my opinion is let's let people in, get revenue to support it, to expand it, because really the opportunity to grow and get messages out, training out is, really kind of an awesome opportunity for our industry. And so, I looked at it more as a building opportunity, and an opportunity to grow the platform, as opposed to something that was, changing the platform. Our business doesn't do a tremendous amount of advertising, so a lot of the process is very new to us. And so both Trace and Lauren were very good at helping us with organizing our thoughts about what messages we wanted to communicate, as well as kind of onboarding us into the process of preparing the message and the ad that we wanted. So it was very good for us, being, novices in advertising. For us, we're pretty well connected into the marketplace. And I think, though, for us, what was really good was being able to tie our advertising to a specific message, and a theme within the podcast. And so one of the things that we saw over 500 increased users in the weeks following the podcast, where our advertisement ran. So over 500 people increase or hits on our website, post running the ad, which, was a nice bump for us. I think for me, what sold me on it had nothing to do with, Trace and scaling up per se. It was more of having the benefit of seeing the momentum gain over the last couple of years of scaling up, and hearing that, there are so many people that are listening to this when they're on service calls, driving, windshield time, or what have you. I just knew there was a unique opportunity to reach people where they might not have other advertising in front of them. You can't read a magazine while you're driving down the road, or you probably shouldn't be. But I was able to understand kind of the groundswell of activity and support for the podcast, and it was just a no-brainer for me to participate in that and have the opportunity to get our message in front of the customer base. In terms of supporting scaling up, I think I was passionate about scaling up when it started, and then it's been very rewarding to see it grow. It's very rewarding to see people, talk about it, the community grow. And I think the other thing that is very unique about scaling up is that it can be very topic driven. So somebody can go in, and if they want to learn about Legionella or hear what a leading expert in the world has to say about Legionella or Legionnaire's disease, they can, do that. Or if they want to learn about scale control or some business idea, they can do that. So for us, it was really kind of a no-brainer to want to jump on board with that and get excited and get behind that and be supportive of that, because there are just a lot of people in our industry that are accessing it, and we believe in that purpose. One of the other things that was really nice, just beyond the advertisement kind of being thrown over the fence, onto the podcast, is that that's totally not the way that things worked. The team, Lauren and Trace, did a great job of adding us to other social media platforms, announcements on their website, and so forth. And so it was really good to not only have the advertisement and reach the audience, but also have the support of the social media that Scaling Up has to get awareness for people to even know to listen for our ad. And so that was a really great part of the onboarding experience. One of the values that I see with Scaling Up is that we're seeing kind of the next generation of water treaters come into our industry with young people. And at the same time, we're kind of simultaneously seeing a decrease in the amount of available training that they have, and the way that they decide to access and are used to and comfortable accessing information. So I think another reason that I'm very supportive of Scaling Up is that it's a platform that people have access to, free access to, hear from experts, but this really benefits the next generation of water treaters that are going to be much more comfortable, and this is much more accessible to them as a learning tool and resource.
Thank you so much for listening to our sponsors. I hope that they have shown you what a valuable resource advertising on scaling up H2O could be to your company. If you have more questions, please contact us with the information we have here in our booth. We're happy to talk with you and see if advertising on scaling up H2O is right for you.